Mr. Anderson,
Present.
Mrs. Condit,
Present.
Ms. Ibach,
Present.
Dr. Gendrano,
Present.
Mrs. Howard,
Present.
Mr. Sa'anoy,
Present.
Ms. Schimpf,
Present.
Mrs. Shep.
Present.
Mr. Walker is not here. And that's it.
Okay.
We have quorum.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Pepe. Oh, so moving on to item number 3, executive session. The Dunellen Board of Education will now adjourn into executive session to discuss items that fall within specific exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act, CNJSA 10-4-12B. The confidential matters discussed by the board during this executive session include items related to individual privacy, collective bargaining agreements, pending or anticipated litigation, attorney-client privilege, as well as personnel. Anything else? Any other ones? Okay. Any discussion that does not need to remain confidential will be made public as soon as it is practical. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. All individuals who may be discussed in executive session have been adequately notified. Action will take place after the conclusion of the executive session. May I have a motion to move into executive session, please?
Move to go to exec.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're in executive. See you at about 7:30. Okay, we are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, moving on to item number 4, the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, sorry, we need to make a motion. May I have a motion, please, to come back to public?
Move to go back to public.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Moving on to item number 4, Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. The flag is over here. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you all please remain standing for a moment of reflection and respect for our troops serving throughout the world, our troops who have served, and our troops who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of our United States of America. Thank you. Happy 0311 Day. Okay, moving on to item number 5, approval of minutes. Looking for a motion to approve 5A, which is the our minutes from our last board meeting on February 25th, 2025.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Open for questions or comments. Last call. Okay, Mr. Pepe, could you please take the roll?
Mr. Anderson? Mrs. Condit?
Yes.
Ms. Ibach?
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy?
Yes.
Ms. Schimpf?
Yes.
Mrs. Shep?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Moving on to item number 6, student recognition. I'll turn this over to Mr. Ross.
Great, thank you, Dr. Gendrano. It's lovely to see you all here. Students, parents, we're very, very proud of you for being selected as the Student of the Month for this month of March. And we have our administrators here. We have a little bit of a different process today. We actually have our step and repeat banner, which is here. So students, what's going to happen is your name is going to be called, and you're going to come up and you're going to receive your certificate from your administrator. And you're going to stay up here. And then when all the students are called, then we're going to take a little pause. Parents, you can get up, you can take pictures. We'll give everybody a second. And we hope that this will help make the pictures nicer and a little bit more memorable for everyone. So without further ado, we're going to start with Dunellen High School and Mr. Lynch.
You want to turn it around? Do you want to turn it around? Do you want to turn it around? Or?
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be here to recognize our Students of the Month. I'll start with 12th grade because unfortunately the student couldn't be here tonight. They had a family commitment. They were celebrating someone's birthday at out in Camelback, so great reason not to be here. Our first Student of the Month is Lily Martin. She's in 12th grade. She's a cheerleader. She is an active student in our school, a fantastic student, and one of the things that one can always say about Lily is she has always got a smile on her face, one of the happiest people that you will ever meet, and she's just a fantastic student, and we're excited to see where she's going next year once she graduates. So our 12th grade Student of the Month, although she couldn't be here, is Lily Martin. Our 11th grade Student of the Month, Jackson Portick. Jackson has a long legacy here in Dunellen. His dad was a graduate of Dunellen High School and a big member of the community. Jackson's done a great job here at the high school. He's one of those students that gets up early in the morning for band, so he's at school before 7 o'clock every day, which is fantastic. He plays football, he plays baseball, and one interesting note about Jackson, and I mentioned this to the student body, and I know he will enjoy this story, is he is one of those students, he's kind of our modern day Lou Gehrig or Cal Ripken. He had perfect attendance all through elementary school, all through middle school, and just last month he got sick and had his first day out of school. So quite a record, amazing. Says a lot about the parents, getting them there to school, but his first day out of school, pretty amazing. But Student of the Month, Jackson Portick. Our 10th grade Student of the Month, Xavier Moya. Xavier, another student that's doing a fantastic job here at Dunellen High School. He just played basketball back in the winter. As we sit back and we talk to the teachers about students that are deserving of this award, Xavier's one of those students that is on the quieter side, but continues day in and day out to do just a fantastic job in his classes. He's got a lot of friends. He's one of those that we hope continues to pull his friends up to continue to improve academically, and he does such a great job in school. So our 10th grade Student of the Month, Xavier Moya. And our 9th grade Student of the Month, Catherine Martinez Vidal. Catherine also doing a fantastic job here at the high school. She is a class officer with her class. She is in mostly honors classes. A fantastic student, very outgoing, very nice. She has big shoes to fill because she has a fantastic older sister as well. She's one of these that always also is very happy in school. As we can see, a smile on her face. Our 9th grade Student of the Month, Catherine Martinez Vidal.
We don't have to get it. We don't have to move anymore. I love it.
Can you give me a, can you let me know when they're done? Sure. Let me know when it's pretty, it's good, right? Yeah. We good? We good? Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Dunellen High School Students of the Month. All right, now for Lincoln Middle School, we have the esteemed principal, Mr. Altmeyer.
Good evening and welcome. I am very proud to announce our 3 students from Lincoln Middle School as our Students of the Month. Students, when your name is announced, please come forward. Our 6th grade Student of the Month is Gianna Saldana. The 6th grade team of teachers would like to congratulate Gianna Saldana for being selected as Student of the Month. She is always willing to assist other students and demonstrates leadership in the classroom. Gianna is kind and respectful to her teachers and classmates. Something that I have to point out, she has had a tremendous role model in her older brother, who is a high school student. She consistently maintains excellent grades and has achieved high honor roll. Gianna is conscientious about the work she produces. Congratulations on being recognized, and keep up the outstanding performance. Our 7th grade student of the month, Tyler Klostava. The 7th grade teachers are proud to recognize Tyler Klostava as Student of the Month. He consistently brings a positive attitude to the classroom, putting forth great effort in all tasks. Tyler actively participates in discussions and is always eager to contribute. One of his greatest strengths is the ability to work well with anyone, whether collaborating on a project or assisting a classmate. He demonstrates kindness and teamwork. Beyond academics, Tyler brightens the classroom with his positive energy. His dedication and enthusiasm make him a role model for others. On a personal note, Tyler does something very special for me, especially during the football season. He is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, so unfortunately we spend a lot of Monday mornings, with our disappointment from the Sunday loss. And I should say that he always comes in with an optimistic attitude, and when I'm down, he'll sit there and say, you know what, we still have 4 games to go, whatever it may be. So I appreciate that from Tyler. Congratulations, Tyler. Keep up the great work. Our 8th grade representative, Abigail Souffrant. The 8th grade team is excited to announce Abigail Souffrant as the Student of the Month. She has earned all A's on her report card for the 2nd marking period and achieved high honor roll status. Abigail consistently demonstrates excellent work habits, strong organizational skills, and a positive and respectful attitude in class. She is cooperative, attentive, and actively participates, showing both interest and enthusiasm in her learning. Her dedication and positive contributions make her a valued member of the LMS community. Congratulations, Abigail, on this well-deserved recognition. Finally, congratulations again to our 3 Students of the Month, and we appreciate them for making LMS an outstanding place to learn and develop. Parents, come forward if you'd like to take a picture.
I need no introduction. He just like give me the mic. That's what I do. Congratulations to all students of the month. I represent Faber. I'm the principal superintendent, and our first student is Landon Velez from the Shaheen's class. Landon, come on up. Landon is an enthusiastic student. He is always happy to participate in class, and we are so proud of his efforts in small group instruction when he always tries his very best. Clap it up for Landon, please. Kindergarten, I have Ryan Mundy. Where's Ryan? You dressed up, man. Look at this. Ryan is a hardworking student who always puts his best effort and stays focused during lessons. As in Ms. Scalero's class, he is the class bullying ambassador. He helps create a safe and respectful environment by encouraging kindness among his classmates. He is also a great helper, always making sure that his classroom is clean and organized. Whether it's picking up materials or reminding others to put things away, Ryan takes pride in our space. Congratulations, Ryan. First grade, Mark Claudio. Mark is all around a great kid. He always gives his best at whatever he's doing. He's a great reader and writer, an unbelievable artist. He is a kind friend to all. Mrs. Cortez has witnessed Mark taking time during recess to teach his friends how to play football, and in class help his friends in drawing with computer issues. He's also a huge Ronaldo fan. I'm a Messi fan. I know we get in this argument all the time. Look at the face I get. All day long, all day long. Congratulations, Mark. Give him a round of applause. Second grade, I have Osias Bovita Tista. Come on up. Got it. Okay. Osias joined our classroom in October is a right fit for the rest of the group. He is a kind, caring student who loves to be around others. In the classroom, he has worked so hard to learn English and is getting better and better each day. He even helps the teacher out speaking Spanish at times, which is awesome. Osias loves to learn and makes sure that he checks work every single day and helps the teachers keep the students in line. Congratulations, great job. In second grade, we also have Jasleen Solis Lopez. Jasleen, come on up. You're very welcome. Jasleen is respectful, kind, and always follows directions. She always does her work on time and does a great job with her homework. She gets along with others and helps people in the classroom to be a loving friend. Congratulations, Jasleen. Great work. Third grade, we have Jackson Oliver. He's in the back there. Come on up, Jackson. Jackson is a true leader in the classroom. He is extremely selfless and always looks to help others and his peers first. He is always making the right choice and helping others stay on task, especially in small group. Great job, Jackson. Clap it up. In fourth grade, Dylan Pena. Dylan, come on up. Dylan is a new student this year and has been a great addition to the Faber family. He is friendly and positive to teachers and peers. Dylan demonstrates ambition and hard work in the classroom by participating in classes and challenging himself to excel in his academics. Great job, Dylan. Clap it up. Fifth grade, Sierra Seisha. Come on up. Soccer for life. That's it. Sierra comes to class ready to work and improve every day. Her drive to be great in the classroom has recently been fueled by her drive to be a great soccer goaltender. She plays multiple soccer leagues. She also participates on weekdays and weekends. It's a lot of time for soccer, isn't it? Yeah, got to put in the time. The improvement she's seen has been unrivaled, and she continues to be a leader in the classroom and on the field. Great job, Sierra. Well done. And last but certainly not least, Faith Patel, come on up. The special area team has selected Faye for the Student of the Month. Faye is an extremely focused student. She is considerate, gracious, and well-mannered. Faye strives to do her best. She's always willing to do what is needed in the classroom and makes a great effort to succeed in class. Faye is compassionate and warm-hearted with her classmates and teachers. Congratulations, Faye. Clap it up for Faber Student of the Month.
So, first of all, thank you to our administrators. Congratulations, all the students of the month. Let's give everyone a big round of applause one more time. We do have a bunch of business that the board will do. We're going to take a couple minutes of a break. I know it's a late night. We're going to keep the step and repeat up here. So if you want to come by with your child and take a picture, feel free to do so. And then we'll take about a 10-minute break or so for the meeting. All right. Thank you. It's wonderful seeing you all. Congratulations, students. President's remarks.
Okay, we'll continue on. So moving on to item number 7, President's Remarks. So just wanted to take a moment again to congratulate all the students who were recognized this evening. We're so proud of all the accomplishments you've made. Please keep up the great work. Wanted to mention about the Read Across America program that happened just recently. I had the honor to read to our elementary students in the Read Across America program on March 7th, and there were many folks who participated. Middlesex County Sheriff Mildred Scott, County Commissioner Dr. Chanel McCollum, State Representative Michelle Matsakudis, Mayor Jason Salento, borough officials, Dunellen Police Officer Condit, and other notable folks in our community and adjacent communities. This was an incredibly highly successful event. The students and the teachers were all so engaged and appreciative, and the classroom doors were decorated in support of supporting books, and Favor School itself was decked out in all sorts of whimsy, all in the name of promoting reading. Big thank you and kudos to Ms. Willoughby, Ms. Lubliner, Mr. Tennant, Ms. Moody, and their teams for making this event such a great success. Probably hear more about this a little bit later, but just wanted to mention about Spring Musical, The Addams Family. Last weekend, the DHS Drama Club completed their run of the Spring Musical, The Addams Family. Bravo, bravo, bravo to the cast, the crew, the musicians, Ms. Clemens, Mr. Sutera, Mr. Geiger, Ms. Piano, our school administrators, Mr. Lynch and Mr. Tobin, our district staff, the PTO and parents of the Drama Club, our community volunteers, our broader Dunellen community, and anyone who I may have missed that helped make the show a resounding success. The show was fire and exceptionally done. Bravo. Staying healthy, as the weather changes again and again and again, and the temperature yo-yos, it's important to underscore healthy kids means healthy schools, means healthy community. So bottom line, I encourage you to take the common sense precautions to minimize the spread of infectious disease or infections that can really impact our school year. As I do during President's remarks, I wanted to mention our monthly celebrations. So March is Women's History Month. It's also National Irish American Heritage Month, National Developmental Disabilities Month. On the 21st of March, it's International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and the 31st of March is the International Transgender Day of Visibility. And I mention these to underscore the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, and most importantly, belonging in the fabric of our daily lives, and the impact that that has on our community. Open, honest, and equitable communication that is respectful, positive, supportive, fair, and most of all, kind, goes a long way in strengthening a community. Lastly, I know we'll go into more detail in the presentation later this evening, but I'm excited for all of the great things that the draft budget proposal gives us going into next year. Thank you to Mr. Ross, Mr. Pepe, and all of their teams, administrators and such, and all the other folks involved in putting this together for your hard work in putting this together. We most certainly appreciate it. So thank you everyone for your time and listening. Moving on to Superintendent's report. Mr. Ross.
Thank you, Dr. Gendrano. So we'll start the superintendent's report off with Douglas and the student report.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see everybody again this month. We started this meeting early in the month, so I don't have that much information. I try to collect as much as possible. Adding the fact that I had little time to get everything ready. I just made it like 2 hours ago. So for elementary, I have that at Favor School, March kickoff with honoring SEL Day. We celebrated the day by minding our emotional and turning the halls of the school into our emotions through color. Pink represented love, yellow and joy. Yellow was joy, happiness, purple was kindness, and green for growth, and blue for calm and peace. The hallways have never looked so great at Favor. They then celebrated Red Across America Week. The students were really excited to have guest readers while celebrating this Spirit Week. What made it even better was that we participated in a door decorating contest where we picked our favorite books, characters that represented us as a group. Congratulations to Mrs. Carrie Johnson's class for winning the first place. Mrs. Capriola and the gymnasiums for winning the second place, and Mrs. Deligers class for winning the third place. Our aquaphonics club is making great advances. Mrs. Gutter was recently interviewed by Rockers, and a great article was published that will be in our newsletter. Mrs. Gutters started our aquaphonics 2 years ago, and she has been doing great things. And Favorite Student Council is hosting a Guess the Coins in the Jar for the month of March. For Lincoln Middle School, students at Lincoln wrote affirmations to celebrate SEL Week. Each student wrote positive messages about themselves and are now displayed in our hallways. In Lincoln Middle School, students have been working hard in their classes as students in language arts classes have been working in concepts like fiction, literature, writing essays, and identifying and analyze themes in novels, and some students writing an alternative ending or continuation of The Giver. The social studies classes are working on local governments, medieval age, and major religions of the world. On Thursday, the 4th, Mayor Salento visited our school to speak for the 6th graders. He spoke to the students about his role as a mayor and what he does to serve Dunellen. For Dunellen High School, and I think also district-wise, spring sports started yesterday. As priorly mentioned by Mr. Gendrano, the spring musical, The Addams Family, just finished last week. It was a great performance, and everybody involved did such a great job in getting everything together. Juniors are currently taking the NJGPA since it is now a graduation requirement. They are starting on the first period through third period, and I think they are going through a little stress about it. We are doing our best to get the best score ever, you know. So let's see how the scores end up being. Tomorrow, students are going to the Teen Art Festival, sponsored by the New Jersey, which they are going to be doing a lot of activities and receiving reviews and feedback from professional artists in a festival where they are going to be learning a lot and also practicing a lot of their skills. And I think that will conclude my report.
Great. Thank you very much, Douglas. Moving on in the superintendent's report, the next piece of this will be the tentative budget presentation. So we will get it up on the screen and do that in 1 sec. So just bear with us.
It's in my paste thing. You can just go ahead and save.
All right, so as occurs every year, it is budget season. As many of you know, state aid numbers came out 2 weeks ago, and by statute, we have to do a tentative budget presentation. So this presentation is going to be posted online very shortly, if it's not already, and you can find that by going to the Board of Education page, going to agendas, and then finding today's agenda, and then it'll be posted under there. Additionally, we will create a budget page, and that will have both the presentation and the recording of the presentation tonight. So presentation objectives for the budget we have outlined here. I'm going to describe the budget process and timeline. I'm going to talk about what's happened over the last couple of years and what's put us in the current position. We have plans for next year, our revenues and expense drivers. We will present a balanced budget, and then lastly, we will talk about the proposed tax impact of the presented budget. So we really anchor everything, as you know, in the district goals. So we have our 4 district goals outlined here. This is really at the heart of the work that we do, and so we always want to lead with this. You'll see much more about the district goals and sort of their focus areas as we move forward. Student enrollment projected for next year is 1,318, and this is K through 12, so this doesn't include preschool students. As you know, we've expanded preschool significantly. But if you look over the last 4 years or so, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, there really has been a significant increase in enrollment. We seem to perhaps have leveled off a little bit. We know from the demographic report that we are expecting more students potentially. We haven't necessarily seen that so far, but we are over 1,300 students and pretty firmly there. So budget process and timeline. The objectives of the budget process is really about understanding short-term and long-term goals, how everything fits in with our objectives and our district goals, providing the confidence to the community that what we're spending money on is aligned to student needs, and then the demonstration that our budgeting needs will serve us not just next year, but then moving forward. We have 3 levels of budget priorities that we work on with our staff members and our budget managers. The first is level 1 priorities, which are required by law. The second one are required by board policy. So many of you know Dunellen High School has a credit requirement well above the state requirements, and so that requires perhaps higher staffing levels or those sorts of things. And then level 3 is really about community interest. So we have strong athletics programs, performing arts initiatives, and level 3 budget priorities really speak to those points. Here's the budget process and timeline. This process starts really in the fall, in November, and we work with the budget managers. Mr. Pepe does a really good job sort of facilitating meetings with each of the budget managers, and then we go through December and January, have a lot of conversations with those folks, whittle the budget down to a reasonable place, and then we essentially wait for state aid. This year, we anticipated about a 4 to 5% state aid cut. We were very fortunate to receive a 2.67% increase, and so we had a pretty balanced budget before state aid, and then the additional funding helps us expand programming and enhance some of the services that we're providing. The next time we'll talk about the budget fully will be May 6th, which is the next the May board meeting. We will have the public hearing for the budget, and we will adopt the final budget for 25-26. So what is sort of the Dunellen Public School story? Right? When we talk about the budget, what we want to do is understand where we've been over the last 3 school years. So we have our 3 pillars which we've established: building relationships, creativity and innovation, and small town vibes. We talk about these internally quite a bit. I message these every week with staff. And our core mission is listed here, and this is really just sort of an adaptation of our actual mission statement. Our core mission is to prepare our students to meet the emotional and social challenges of the future by providing them with essential skills and a safe, caring, stimulating learning environment. So with that in mind, we really have tried to think about, where did we come from and what have we done over the last 3 years? So the primary drivers of our work has been these improvement cycles that we've been working on. Starting with a clear mission, we're trying to understand what our core beliefs are, what the foundation of our work is, and what our non-negotiables are. We've had a lot of conversations about what we believe, and what we believe is the thing that drives us forward when we make budget decisions and program decisions. We then look at our desired outcomes, and obviously we've focused this quite a bit this year with goal setting. So what are our goals? What does success look like, and what is achievable? We have to be reasonable given our population of students and where we've started, but we set ambitious goals and plan accordingly. Our actions and data collection really have to do with what the behaviors are. So what are people doing to influence student success? right? What type of teaching and learning is occurring? What type of professional development is there? What are administrators doing in terms of instructional walkthroughs or support? What SEL programming is there, right? These are our always behaviors, right? What are our key drivers for these things? And then monitor and adjust. So what is working, what's not, and then how do we track progress and change course if needed? So the next two slides are very thorough. And what I've tried to do is really talk about over the last 3 years, this is being the third year, right, where we've put in just tremendous amount of support. So on the left side, you see academics and SEL. On the right side, you see operations and operational enhancements. And on the bottom, you see community. So our primary focus in terms of academics and SEL really has been inclusion. We have done a tremendous amount of work in creating a more inclusive learning environment for multilingual learners and students with special needs. That has been done through staffing and programming and just a real focus on trying to get students in the least restrictive environment. We've done a lot of work with assessment and data analysis. We have strengthened our science of reading programming at the elementary school. We have supported and enhanced our arts programming, which includes, purchasing new instruments, a new kiln at Faber, the district partnership with Arts High, which has been wonderful, and many other things. We have new curriculum adoptions across multiple areas. We've got pretty new K-12 STEM computer science realignment and programming. We've been working with Urban Assembly on SEL programming. We have a thriving aquaponics and hydroponics set up at Faber in three different areas, and also the elementary gardens in the courtyard. And then we've created our school-based wellness specialist program, which has allowed us to take what was being done by a contracted service provider and bring that in-house. From an operational perspective, we have had, obviously, just if you've sort of, board members, you've been here, you've seen all of this. We've had a tremendous amount of construction work and enhancements to our facilities over the last 3 years. We have our new preschool wing, our new STEM class, a new music classroom, the first rendition of our new media center, which is getting another sort of facelift as we plan for the spring. At the middle school, we created a new assistant principal's office, a new small group instruction space, and we moved the conference room. At the high school, as part of the referendum project, we finished the auditorium, the wood shop, the cafeteria, the tech center. We've done a lot of work with both gymnasiums, new floor finish, wall pads, bleachers at the high school. We've done planning for the long-range facilities plan, a lot of beautification, lots of painting, lots of fixing things that just had been broken for some time, and just really trying to make this a welcoming place for students and staff. We have pretty much all new HVAC upgrades with a new building management system. We have strong, healthy reserve accounts, which we use for future planning. We've invested district funds that were sitting in a no-interest saving account into high-interest accounts, and that has yielded us close to $1 million over the last couple of years. So really, really significant. We have been very, very ambitious with grant opportunities and cost-saving partnerships. Probably have earned over $500,000 in competitive grants over the last few years. We had the DEA salary guide adjustment, which was over 15% of an increase that was able to be put in so that we could retain and recruit our valued DEA members. We also adjusted custodial salaries so that we could be paying our custodians a livable wage, and they felt valued as well by the district. We have the Faber paving and drainage project. There's a new path from Pulaski Street, and we've done a lot with security in terms of our process, our signage, and our cameras. In terms of community engagement, we have our ESL parent classes going on. We have class tonight. There are 35 adults who are being instructed, which is incredible. We've done a lot of Title I and Title III family outreach activities and events. We had our Trees for Schools grant, which was a great partnership with the borough, where we had new trees planted throughout Govornik Park, in the schools, Columbia Park, and other areas. We redesigned the website. We adopted Parent Square, which we've pushed out. We've been expanding preschool to try to get to universal, and we have other partnerships and borough support within Dunellen and also external to that. So just a tremendous amount of work really focused on building the profile of the district and creating a more positive environment for everyone here. In terms of staffing, putting this list together is actually pretty amazing because it speaks to not only the number of staff members that we've added, but also the types of staff members that we've added. Over the last 3 years, we've added over 30 FTEs. And if you look at the list, it is a list filled with staff members whose primary job is to support students who are in need. So counselors, interventionists, ESL teachers, in-class support teachers, school-based wellness specialists, behaviorists, right? These are staff members who are working with vulnerable students, with students who need additional services, and you know, we've also added strategic instructional positions as well. But this is really it's all about support. We have been able to support our students. We've been able to support staff members, and you know, thinking about cutting staff, right? If we had received a 10% cut in state aid, thinking about cutting staff, I'm not sure where we would cut, right? And we've added over 30 positions. And so these are positions that I think are really necessary for the success of our district. In terms of general staffing supports, we've also expanded coaching at all levels. We have a significant expansion of PD opportunities. I gave this presentation to staff members after school today, and I noted that in the 21-22 school year, which is the year before I arrived, we had 100% carryover in Title II. Right, Title II is the federal fund that is designated for staff professional development. And that means that no Title II funds were spent to support staff members going on professional development opportunities. So we've significantly expanded that. We've also added certification and graduate degree options that are paid for by the district, which includes Wilson certification or Orton-Gillingham certification. We have students, we have staff members now who are working towards their master's degrees in computer science. And this is really all, obviously it's to better the staff member, but it's all in service of bettering the student experience. So with that as the backdrop, you know, we want to understand what's going to come next and how do we think about next year. We maintain our 3 pillars. We talk about our core mission. You know, the district goals are the district goals. There's no reason to change them. They're strong. And so when we think about what are we going to do next, right, here's where we are. The first thing is that as of next year, Dunellen Public Schools will be able to offer universal preschool for all 3- and 4-year-olds. This is a monumental achievement. We have seats for over 90% of possible 3- and 4-year-olds in Dunellen, and working with 2 private providers next year, we will have a projected total number of seats of 165. If you look at the timeline there, from October 18th, 2023, which is when we first communicated preschool expansion, to September 2nd, which is the first school day of next year, we will have added 130 seats, which means that every 3-year-old and every 4-year-old in Dunellen will be able to go to school for free in a high-quality preschool learning environment. So this is the foundation of students that are coming into the district, right, have this as their experience, right? As we move forward, we have continued focus on our 4 goal areas. So in terms of MTSS, which is a multi-tiered system of support, we have academics, we have SEL and wellness, operational efficacy, and community engagement. And you will notice that many of these things are the same as what we're doing now, because we're doing the right things. So instructional improvements, assessment, screening, and data collection, aligning our interventions, working with PLCs and staff collaboration, inclusive environments for multilingual learners and students with special needs, staff training, right, thinking about SEL. You have all of that information there. School climate goal setting and student goal setting, which has really begun this year. Push in behavioral supports, which is something that we've not been able to offer in the past, but now with a behaviorist and RBTs, we have that. data collection on behavior and other indicators, absenteeism, school avoidance, other sorts of things. From an operational efficacy place, we're looking at infrastructure, technology, and E-rate projects, grant offsets. We will continue construction and room upgrades. The business office improvements has been something that's somewhat invisible from the student side, but our business office processes have become much more efficient in terms of working with vendors and purchase orders and requisitions and that sort of thing. And you'll recall that the audit that was presented at the end of January had no findings, which meant that the work from last year was very, very strong and done according to the law. And then HR excellence is something that we're really trying to work on in terms of being able to provide service for our staff members. So we have a staff handbook, which is 98% done, but not yet passed out or sent out, distributed to staff members, where we basically identify all of the kinds of things that we can do for staff, how staff members can be serviced by the Department of Human Resources, who to go to, those sorts of things, so that we don't bring someone on and then them just sort of flounder because they don't know what types of supports are available. So that's a really big, important issue that we're working on as well. In terms of community engagement, we still will be working with Parent Square, and we're going to try to figure out new ways to get parents using the app, more family engagement, improving our partnerships with Dunellen and Middlesex County. We've been working, trying to get food bank partnership through Replenish, which is something that we are very likely to move forward with. So that's been a very cool thing, and obviously we're going to continue with our adult ESL classes. In terms of updates and improvement, curriculum and instruction, you can see the list there. It is primarily new resources and new structures, right? In terms of math, we've been working with building thinking classrooms. In terms of staff support, we will continue our certification and training programs for Wilson Reading Certification. We're also looking at multisensory math. We'll continue our work with Up the Bar, Deanna Opatovsky at the elementary level. We'll start to push into the middle school, supporting our new ELA resource implementation. And in terms of special education, we're going to be expanding in-class resource model so that we have more special education teachers, certificated staff members in those classrooms. And we're adding registered behavioral therapists, which are paraprofessional positions who have background in behavioral support. So they'll be able to assist in challenging situations. And then we're also updating curriculum tools there. We're looking at some additional staff members for next year. We haven't made final decisions. Final decisions will be shared at the May budget presentation. But again, interventionists, potentially in grades 6 through 12, special education teachers, a speech therapist, another ENL teacher, ESL teacher, RBTs, and instructional coach. From a facilities perspective, we have a capital projects and reserves information listed. We have an anticipated balance of over $5 million in capital reserve at the end of this year. That is anticipated, right? We won't know that number until it is audited in January of 2026. But we also have a significant decrease pending because of the UPK, Universal Pre-K Facilities Project. And that is about $2.6 million from the district's share that will be dedicated to that. So we're projecting a balance of about $870,000 at the end of next year. And obviously these are all anticipated and projected numbers. They're not audited numbers. In terms of capital projects, we have some significant things that we're looking at from the operating budget: ADA upgrades, window replacements. We've had a lot of conversation about windows for the last couple of years. There are some situations that need to be remedied. And then a lot of exterior signage for student safety, community safety, and wayfinding. And then through the capital reserve, obviously our UPK grant, which is a $6 million project, the state is paying for $3.46 million of it, and we will pay for the rest through capital reserve. We have a lot of masonry repairs, facade repair issues, primarily in this building, which we'll address. And then we also have bathroom or toilet room renovations, which will be a significant cost as well. All that is to say that we don't do this alone. We also have a number of partnerships and shared services that we take advantage of. So the district is strong, but we also have a very strong and positive relationship with the borough. Obviously, Columbia Park is sort of the big one, but we also have shared services in custodial and maintenance services, in technology, and school security. We've been working on one project. There's been tremendous amount of collaboration between Dunellen PD and the district, and they've been very helpful with us. In terms of transportation, we have partnerships with a number of school districts in the area. And then one thing that really has exploded this year is the expansion of our cooperative pricing systems. And that is really Mr. Pepe looking at where can we find vendors that will provide us with more competitive pricing. And the co-op systems really have been very beneficial for the district. So, all right, so that is the overview of things. Right, now I'm going to get into the money part of it. I'm going to go a little faster through this. All the information is there. Again, this is all posted on the website. I don't need to do all the math on the fly for you, but this is where we talk about the specific funding. So we have 3 buckets of revenues. The first is the general fund, and so we're looking at a local tax levy increase of 2%. We also receive state categorical aid, federal aid through SEMI, which is Medicaid reimbursement, which we understand is going to be slashed significantly across the country. And then we also have miscellaneous revenues. From revenues, right, we also have to take into account withdrawal from reserves. So when we take our reserve accounts and we bring them into the general fund to pay for things, right, that counts as a withdrawal from reserves, but it also counts as a revenue on the general fund side. Budgeted fund balance is money in excess surplus from the prior year, and so we're carrying $1.7 million in budgeted fund balance, which is a slight increase from last year. Our special revenues fund is 3 sources. It's federal, state through PEA, and local sort of other sources. So you'll see this same slide on the appropriations side, but we are budgeting 75% for our title funds. Typically, we've in the past budgeted 85%, but with the uncertainty around funding for Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV, we're budgeting 75%, which we think is a safe number. IDEA, we're still going to budget 85%. It seems to be that IDEA is not going to be significantly cut, and certainly we hope that it's not. We have preschool expansion aid. We increased the number of seats, and we increased the amount of revenue as well. So we received $957,000 more in state aid for preschool, so we're up to $2.5 million. That's about as high as we're going to get, not too much more as we keep going. And then we have other sources. We have the NJ6 safety grant, which the funding information is not yet available. Our general fund contribution to PEA is money we shift from the general fund to the preschool expansion account to service students with special needs that are in our preschool programs. And then we also have student activities. So in summary, oh no, one more. And then the debt service fund, which is the money that we owe on bonds. And so this is revenues related to debt service. So we have part of our local tax levy goes to the repayment of the 2012 bonds. We also withdraw money every year from our capital reserve to pay for the 2019 referendum project. And that was one of the sort of deals that was made between the prior administration and the taxpayers when those projects were put together. And then we have state debt service aid, which we collect as well. And those items allow us to pay towards the bonds that we have collected, that we've borrowed against. So in summary, we have revenues here, right? You will notice that there is a significant increase in revenues. A lot of that does have to do with the preschool expansion facilities project, but you can see sort of the overview there. On the appropriations side, we have appropriations is sort of like expenditures, but we haven't spent it yet, so it's the money that we're putting towards future spending. So we have general education, special education, facilities, benefits, and administrative costs, and you can see the increases there. That difference in facilities from $4 million to $6.8 million is primarily, again, because of the preschool facilities project. And so really the biggest driver here other than that is employee benefits. We have a significant health benefits increase and Social Security and things like that, but we also have more staff members. And so as we build staff, right, then we also accrue additional costs and benefit costs, which sort of comes with that sort of expansion. This is the same exact slide as the revenue side, because our goal is to basically spend all of the title funds that we can. So whatever we're allocated, we spend it, so it comes in and it comes out. And then in terms of appropriations for debt service, we pay our debt obligations in two ways, just as anyone does. If you have a mortgage, part of your payment goes to principal and part of your payment goes to interest. And as you can see, as time goes on, and as you know, you pay more towards principal than you do interest, and that's really sort of the direction that we're going on. So 10% decrease in interest is good. It means that we're getting towards the end of some of the bond payments that are going to be required. And so in summary, we have the appropriations overall. And again, if you want to go back, the details are listed on the slide that's shown there, so you can double check that. By type, our general fund appropriations, we have a 42.5% of our general fund is allocated to salaries, and 17.4% of it is employee benefits. Now, this is about 60% of the overall budget, and typically districts carry about 70 to 80% of their budget in staffing. The reason that ours is about 60% is really, again, because of the significant facilities project. And because that counts as an appropriation, that sort of bumps everything up there. But you can see kind of how we break things down. But that 9.6% of capital outlay is sort of, messes with the chart a little bit. And then by category, this is basically the information that I showed on the chart, but done as a pie chart. So you can see, kind of the share of general education, special education, facilities, benefits, et cetera. So, in summary, we have a balanced budget. This is the slide I joke. I have joked the last few years. This is Mr. Pepe's favorite slide. It shows that the revenues are equal to the appropriations, and the dark box shows exactly the same information, which means that your balance is budget. All the revenues equal the proposed appropriations, and so we're good to go. When we look at tax impact, the district is planning a 2% overall increase. The net tax impact is 1.94%. On this is an incremental change of $41.81 per $100,000 in assessed value. So the average assessed home in Dunellen is $461,604. Which means that that home would see a $193 increase in the school tax portion of taxes for next year, which is about $15 per month or so. And so with that, the budget process has been an inclusive and collaborative process. Our administrative team has been very involved in this. Our tentative budget maintains all of the existing programs and staff, also provides additional enhancements, and this now gets submitted to the Executive County Superintendent's Office. They will review the tentative budget submission. If they have any feedback, we'll make some adjustments, and then we will plan to adopt the final budget on May 6th. And with that, I will open up to questions or comments. Seeing none, thank you for allowing me to present this. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was very clear.
So just for folks at home, we're having a conversation about the tax impact. So again, the incremental taxing impact is $41.81 for $100,000 of assessed value. So that means that if your home is worth $500,000, right, your increase would be 5 times 41.81, which would be 200, whatever it would be, $9 and change. So with that, I will continue with the superintendent's report. Obviously, I want to thank Mr. Pepe for all of his very diligent work with the budget. These numbers are hard to square sometimes, and I know that Mr. Pepe spends a lot of time during the workday and then beyond the workday checking his numbers and adding and subtracting and doing all of that, so I really appreciate your work on this. I also want to thank board members. We had a lot of robust conversation about the tax impact. I will say, I didn't share this in the presentation, but the district had allowable adjustments and expiring bank cap that would have allowed the district to increase the tax levy up to 4.65% without needing taxpayer approval. The conversation of the board and thinking about the current financial circumstances that families find themselves in, we made the decision to allow the bank cap to expire and also not take the allowable adjustment, which was determined by the state. So we're sort of underfunding ourselves in a way according to the state and what the district needs, but obviously we believe that we're in a strong financial situation and strong position with a 2% tax increase. And yeah, so that's the budget. Other items in terms of the superintendent's report, I'll start with something that Douglas mentioned, which is the Rutgers climate change work. So there was a really wonderful article published in the Rutgers Computer Science, Math, and Engineering website today regarding the grant-funded climate change work being done at Faber. And there were also a couple of other districts that were highlighted. There is we've had 2 days of hydroponics workshops with a professor from Rutgers. That was February 18th and February 26th. And then tomorrow we actually have a Rutgers Climate Summit. It is called Local Voices, Global Choices, Student and Educator Summit. It's being put on at Rutgers University, co-sponsored by Rutgers and NJ Audubon. And our Miss Gunther and a number of the third grade students will be presenting about their climate change topics. And this is really the work that they've done with the hydroponics and the aquaponics and also the garden in the courtyard, which has been really wonderful. So we also applied for an additional $15,000 for the climate change grant, which we believe that we're going to get, but we have not yet we haven't gotten final confirmation on. That would allow us to expand the climate change work to grades K through 2. Also, coming up this week, we have a presentation at the New Jersey Association of Federal Program Administrators. This is a state program, a state organization that is folks that work on federal grants and state grants and those sorts of things. And Ms. Drapkin, Mr. Tennant, and Cody Parker from Drop the Beat Farms will be presenting on really sort of the same work. It's the use of Title IV funds, which support well-rounded educational opportunities, to support and implement a student-led climate change program through hands-on environmental education, using aquaponics, hydroponics, and outdoor garden beds that teaches students about sustainable farming, water conservation, and the impacts of climate change. So this is it's a great conference to be presenting at, and I'm excited that our team is going to be there representing the district. Tomorrow we also have Arts High. The Middlesex County Teen Arts Festival is taking place at Middlesex College. We have over 60 students from the middle school and the high school who will be attending. They will be doing work in theater arts, visual arts, vocal music and jazz band, and Miss Piano, Miss Clemens, Mr. Roybal, and Mr. Sutera all will be joining them. So it's a very, very exciting opportunity. They'll be working with students from across the county on really cool arts projects. Read Across America was last week, as has been mentioned. Monday, the 3rd, was also World SEL Day, and Faber looks incredible. Amazing hallway and door decorations, Have had a lot of special guest readers. There was a beautiful luncheon today for staff and special guests. There was also work done at the middle school for World SEL Day as well. So really just a wonderful event as it is every year. Preschool expansion I spoke about during the budget presentation. I'll also just add that we had a really nice in-person registration that was provided on Saturday morning. We had a number of our staff members here welcoming folks from the community, getting them registered, helping them with paperwork, and really just trying to welcome those folks into the community, into the school community. Over the next couple of weeks, we also have a lot of tree work happening. This is a project that has to do with both safety and security and beautification. So there's tree and shrub removal work that's going to be taking place over the next few weeks. At Faber and the high school, there are a lot of large shrubs which are going to be removed from the building perimeters. This is, again, safety and security reasons. There's pretty strict guidance or recommendations about having large shrubs next to entryways at buildings. These pose potential hazards, areas where people can stash things. There's also lines of sight that can be affected. And so working with Mr. Marenberg, we identified some things that could be cut back, and then also some things that need to be removed. There's a lot of stuff that's also overgrown. And so really taking a look at the exterior of our building and thinking about the masonry, but also thinking about the living piece of what we have outside the building has been very helpful. At Columbia Park, the woods line in the back of the park behind the varsity baseball field is sort of falling in. So there's going to be trees and branches that are going to be removed there. The south fence of the track throwing field on the hill. And basically there's been good collaboration with the rec department and the borough. The area will be roped off and barricaded while the tree crews are there. And then we also at Faber have the tree line in the south side of the building outside, past the parking lot. So you go through the horseshoe and then there's the parking lot in front and then there's a tree line there. There's just felled trees and just debris that's sort of built up over the last few years that's going to be removed as well. A couple other items, I guess one other sort of district item, and then I'll talk about two personal, professional things. So the first is the district calendar for the current year. We have used 0 snow days. Because of that, we have two days that are built into the calendar as school days that are going to be returned as days off for staff and students. The calendar reads that if fewer days are needed, the following days will be removed, and they are May 27th and May 28th, which is Tuesday and Wednesday after Memorial Day, which means that Memorial Day then becomes a 5-day weekend. I'm not recommending the new calendar today because I thought that might be something that we talk about, whether we want to do that or if we want to find another day somewhere else. But again, part of the reason that we put that into the calendar is to give folks notice about what would happen. So I'm a little reluctant to change that. We do have a board meeting scheduled for May 27th. And so if we have that meeting on the 27th, that's going to be very hard. So we will have to, if we do have that not be a school day, we would have to move that because May 27th is also a board meeting where we would do staff recognition of either retirees or teachers of the year. And certainly those folks are not going to come in if we don't have school that day. So we've got to just plan for that. We can have some conversation in the committees and I'll speak certainly with the DEA and hear their recommendations, and then we can approve the new calendar in April and notify families. And then two things just real quick. The NJDOE working group on evaluation, my next meeting for that is Thursday. And so I'll be working with folks from NJEA and other organizations to try to make this process, which has really become very sour for staff members and administrators and sort of everybody. We're trying to sort of improve on that. And then I know there's been a lot of conversation about the musical. I was in New Orleans last week for the week. I completed the National Superintendent Certification Program, which is a 2-year program. So I had a little graduation ceremony, which was cute. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I got a nice little certificate, and that was excellent. And then we had 2 days of the national conference on Thursday and Friday, and it really, you know, there's always great learning and great networking in terms of finding districts that are doing cool things. But I think one of the things that I really took away, and I shared this with the staff last week, is that we're doing the right things. We're moving in the right direction. We're not doing all the right things as perfectly as we could be doing them, but we are doing the right things, and our focus is a good focus. So we've got a lot of work to do on the admin side to ensure that the work that we're doing translates properly to staff members. But you know, the way that we've cared about students, the way that we've supported staff, the way that we've looked at our structures, we're certainly moving in the right direction. So you know, all in all, it was really nice to be there, and quite a good positive experience. The last thing I think is the enrollment report, and I did give the enrollment report 2 weeks ago, but we do have some small changes. I don't know that I did not print it. So enrollment for March, currently we're down 2 students from February. We have 626 students at Faber, 333 students at the middle school, and 413 students at the high school. As compared to last year at this point, or I guess at the end of the year, we are down 14 students at Faber. We're exactly the same at the middle school, and we're up 12 students at the high school. So a little bit of variability, but we're now, including the private preschool, we're over 1,400. We have 1,414 currently in the district, and 1,372 being serviced in-house. And with that, that's the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ross. Any questions, guys?
Yes, I do have a question. Just the variability between 2023's enrollment of 1,374, with the increase in the pre-K services, we see a decrease of 1,372 by 2 students. What caused that variability, even though we increased enrollment for pre-K?
The decrease is not at pre-K. So if you look at the,
The increase was we had more for the PK. We went from 41 to 62, but overall we saw a decrease in overall students by 2.
Yeah. So I mean, again, if you can just sort of look row by row. So in June 24, we're down 4 students in kindergarten. We're down 10 students in 2nd grade, and the 5th grade class moved out of Faber, and also seems dropped by 11. Right. So there is definitely some transience in the community, and I think that speaks to some of the variability.
Even with the increase in like the development work, we saw some transience in there?
Yeah, I mean, transience is not necessarily relevant to the development work. The development work is really about new residents.
Right.
I think that we have a fairly high number of students who are here for part of a school year and then who might exit. And so with such small margins, right, I think we're always going to see a little bit of up and down. I think large scale trends is pretty much where we need to be looking. And we're down a little bit from last school year, but we're still way above where we were in 22-23.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we're also tracking, I mean, we get sort of regular updates or regular queries from the folks at the Nell and the crossings, right, about enrollment. And as of now, all of the projections have been pretty spot on. So we know that there's more building, and obviously we talked about other projects that are pending. But so far those haven't yielded a really significant uptick.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, let's moving along. Public comments on agenda items only. So the Board invites public comment on agenda items only from members of our community in accordance with Board Policy 0167. Public comment sections are intended to provide an opportunity for members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The board and administration will be taking notes during public comments, but will not provide substantive responses to questions or concerns raised by individual speakers. If necessary, the superintendent may provide a brief response after the entire public comment period is completed. The board appreciates and welcomes feedback from the community, but is not at liberty to engage in a back-and-forth dialogue with members of the public during this portion of the meeting. Prior to making your public comment, please state your name and municipality. Please note that all statements must be directed to the presiding officer. Please come to the microphone at this time if you'd like to make comments on agenda items only. Last call. Nope. Okay, moving on to item 10, education discussion items. We did not meet in committee, so there is not an education committee report. So we'll move on to item 11, education action items. So looking for a motion to approve 11A through D as a block.
Motion to move 11A through D as a block.
Seconded.
Open for questions or comments. Last call. Okay, Mr. Pepe, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Anderson? Got you. Mrs. Condit?
Yes.
Ms. Ibeck?
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Satanoy?
Yes.
Ms. Schimpf?
Yes.
Mrs. Shep?
Yes, but
Motion
abstaining
passes.
from B.
Oh, sorry, abstain from B, you
B.
said? Okay. Sorry, abstain. Okay, motion passes.
Okay, wonderful. Moving on to item 12, personnel discussion items. We did not have a personnel committee meeting prior to this one, so we'll move along. So no report at this time. We'll move on to personnel action items. So looking for a motion to approve 13A through E as a block.
I move to approve items 13A through E as a block.
Second.
Open for questions or comments?
Yes, for item 13B, I used to coach with Jeff Portick and Chris Young, and I'd just like to thank them for volunteering their time publicly. And on E, I'm very happy to see that there are more of our female leaders signed up for the women's conference.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any other questions or comments? Last call? Okay, Mr. Pepe, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Condit?
Yes.
Ms. Ibeck?
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Satanoy?
Yes.
Ms. Schimpf?
Yes.
Mrs. Shep?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, wonderful. Moving right along to item number 14, operations discussion items. Also, we did not meet as an operations committee, so there is no report to relay. So moving on to item 15, operations action items. Looking for a motion to approve 15A through M, as in Mary, as a block.
Move to approve items A through F as a block.
M as a block.
M as a block, yes.
Second.
Okay. We are open for questions, comments. First, I would like to just say real quick, I know that so items E and F were updated from the agenda earlier this week. So please make a note of that, and perhaps ask Mr. Pepe to give us a little bit more information on that. Also, M was added as a PD session on April 3rd, and L. I did also want to just mention, convey a really great big thank you to the PTO for the donations. the $1,000 for the senior class trip, as well as the $2,131 for LMS and DHS choir and band programs. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'll just add my thanks to the PTO. The email came in recently, and we were very, very excited to be able to put it on tonight's agenda. So thank you. And you can thank Dr. Gendrano as well when you see her.
Oh, yes, I will.
Not you.
Not me.
But I do want to point out, item E is the budget approval. Item F is the approval of the capital reserve withdrawal. Item G is general fund appropriation, which will be approved for a capital reserve account for future funding. There's the PEA information, which is H, and then I is related to staff travel, as is J. And so these are really the budget approvals that are required for today, and these will go in certified form to the county office, county executive superintendent's office, as part of the budget submission process.
Can you just give us, or Rich, give us a little breakdown on I and J, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Pepe?
These are required motions. We had these last year, but we modified the language a little bit to make it fit the normal whereas, now, therefore, be it resolved. Basically, the first one, I, is establishing a maximum amount for professional development. The board is authorizing us to provide professional development based on what Mr. Ross finds to be the important needs of the district, and we've done a lot of this. We have come nowhere close to this maximum in the last few years. So it's just a ceiling, just saying if we wanted to spend more than $100,000 on professional development, we'd have to come back to the board to ask for for approval to spend more. That's I. So J is basically saying that there's kind of two parts to it. It's saying that we can reimburse staff members for up to $150 a year for what's considered regular business travel. So if a staff member is going to a required meeting for their association, or if they're driving regularly back and forth, which is more of an issue in larger districts, but still here, we can reimburse them for that mileage without having to actually put it on the agenda for approval.
Thank you.
Great questions. Any other questions or comments? Okay, last call. All right, Mr. Pepe, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Condit?
Yes.
Ms. Ibeck?
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy?
Yes.
Ms. Schimpf?
Yes.
Mrs. Shep?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, wonderful. And the budget moves along.
And we have a budget. A
Yes, we
tentative,
do.
a tentative budget.
Tentative budget, that's right. Okay, moving on to item 16, old business. I would like to just bring up a point from our last board meeting. We had Mary Ann Friedman come talk with us about the CSA evaluation, but also to talk about the board self-evaluation process. I asked to add this as an item in old business, so we can just have a brief discussion if this is something that we would be interested in taking on. I mean, we learned a lot last session, but for something where we would do this in the, I want to say, September, October timeframe, I don't believe we've actually done a board self-evaluation, at least the time that I've been on the board, maybe perhaps before, but yeah, ever. So I think, it might be a good time to give it a try, but I wanted to open this up. This isn't a unilateral decision. This is something that we would want to decide on as a board. So want to take this moment to open that, that thought up and see what you guys think. Is this something we would want to do? Don't all speak up at once.
I'll chime in. I wasn't here for the last meeting for the full presentation, but thank you for the copies. This is my going on 9th year on the board. We've never done a a self-evaluation. I'm kind of leaning toward sure, why not? We've had a lot of new faces and a lot happening in the district in the last 3 years. So maybe it's a time for us to take a look at our work. In addition to the work that the administration and the teachers have been doing, I think it's, we'd be in lockstep with what we expect of our district employees, and maybe doing the same for ourselves would be good.
Thank you, Mrs. Howard. Ms. Ibach?
I second that.
Oh. There was no motion on the table. But
Sorry. Yeah,
okay, fine.
she's the VP.
You made a motion. I
When you
understand.
speak, it's emotion.
Any other comments? Mr. Sanoy? Oh, okay. I saw the hand on the button, so. Any other comments? So is this something you think we'd want to do? We don't have to decide tonight, but at the very least, something to think about. I do think it would be a worthwhile exercise for us, for the reasons that Mrs. Howard mentioned, but also, we've never done it. This is something new, something to challenge us, but also to see how we're doing. So, go ahead.
I mean, if I am, I'm not an elected board member. Certainly, as a member of the conversation and observing the board and understanding how governance works, I think that you've all been very trusting of me as a superintendent, and I feel like I've been very transparent with you. I think it is also probably important to get a sense as a board if there are things that you want to see that are different that might not be in my purview, or that might not be the things that I'm focusing on. And from a governance perspective, it might be the case that you do a self-evaluation and the processes that are in place are good, and you're happy with them, and you're satisfied that you're getting the most out of this. There also might be opportunities that you hadn't considered, that I haven't considered, or that aren't sort of my focal areas that might be worthwhile for the board to pursue. There might be, advocacy. There might be different types of resolutions that make, public statements. There might be structures that you want to explore. I think it's probably a good idea just to take a look at it. And if nothing comes of it, then, you've taken a look at it, you've gone through the process. I can't imagine it's an extremely complicated process, as Marianne explained it last meeting. But I think there's only upside from doing the self-evaluation. So I don't want to make more work for you, and I know that some of you are reluctant to do it because of the potential time commitment, but I do think that as an exercise in sort of reviewing where you are as a board and trying to come together as a single voice or understand what that looks like, I think it's probably a beneficial process to go through.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. And again, this wouldn't necessarily, I'm starting the conversation early. This is something that we wouldn't try to tackle until well into the September, October timeframe. We still have CSA evaluation to go through, and we don't want the two things overlapping. Not for any reason, just that, work on top of work. So, all right, so I'll leave that there. We can certainly talk offline as well, during committees, wherever, and check in next time to see how we're doing on this topic. So, any other old business that anyone would like to talk about?
Yes, I would like to bring back the topic I've been floating around in regards to federal grants for emergency management. Just want to make sure, as Mr. Marenberg he hasn't returned yet, right? Just the awareness that we keep this on the board, or at least keep awareness that there's opportunity to obtain some federal grants that we can leverage in a different, mindset, working with either FEMA, Department of Education, Department of Justice, which currently have grants that are available for emergency management exercises and reunification. It's stuff that we need to take a look at.
So we did, we collated the information that you shared We did some research. We do have a document that's pending that has all the appropriate links to all of those pieces. That was actually done in the business office. So we have forward movement on that process, and it's just sort of a question of getting to the right point of, understanding what our needs are, what's available, what the timelines are, and then moving forward. But it's very, very, very helpful. So
Right.
thank you.
'Cause I believe it'll also help with the borough itself to get in on this. It would really facilitate and hopefully defer some of the labor to get these grants out there and the funds available to us all as a community.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Satnoy. Any other old business? Okay. Moving along to new business, item number 17. Is there any new business that anyone would like to bring up?
I just want to share in the vein of celebrating our students. I'm just reading off of his mom's Facebook post here. Senior Luke Pedersen was awarded let me read this right, the Scholar Athlete. He was one of the state Scholar Athlete Awards of the Bill Denny Rutgers Football Letter Winners Chapter. So there was a luncheon held last weekend, and there were football players, scholar athletes in football from all over the state there. Mr. DiNapoli attended. So did my husband as one of Luke's assistant coaches. And I think this was just a really cool award for our little district, for a student to be recognized at the state level, not just for athletics, but for his achievements in the classroom as well. And there was a program, and I think Mr. DiNapoli pulled some strings for us because he got a full-page ad in the statewide program. So Luke Pedersen represented us full page as a state scholar athlete. And he just committed to Kane University, so great for a member of our senior class.
Awesome. That's fantastic. All right. All right. Any other new business or things to share here? All right. Let's move along to President's remarks. I have nothing further to add to what I said before, but would happily add this time if anyone would like to make any statements or comments or kind of come back to anything that we've talked about. Okay. All right, then moving along to item number 19, public comments. So the board invites public comment on any issue, any topic from members of our community in accordance with Board Policy 0167. Public comment sections are intended to provide an opportunity for members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The board and administration will be taking notes during public comment, but will not provide substantive responses to questions or concerns raised by individual speakers. If necessary, the superintendent may provide a brief response after the entire public comment period is completed. The board appreciates and welcomes feedback from the community, but is not at liberty to engage in a back and forth dialogue with members of the public during this portion of the meeting. Prior to making your public comment, please state your name and municipality. Please note that all statements must be directed to the presiding officer. Please come to the microphone at this time if you'd like to make comments on any issue or any topic. Last call. Okay. So moving on to item 20, executive session. The Dunellen Board of Education will now adjourn into executive session to discuss items that fall within specific exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act, CNJSA 10-4-12B. The confidential matters discussed by the board during this executive session include items related to individual privacy, collective bargaining agreements, pending or anticipated litigation, and personnel. Any discussion that does not need to remain confidential will be made public as soon as it is practical. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality is no longer needed or exists. All individuals who may be discussed in the executive session have been adequately notified. Action will not take place after the conclusion of the executive session. So may I have a motion to move into executive session, please?
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will see you next time in April, April 8th.